Hello and welcome to Teacher Valerie's English Lessons. Today's lesson is for Year 3, which is under Unit 1, Welcome. And the topic for today's lesson is about the verb to have in affirmative and interrogative form. Today's lesson is based on page 6 and 7 in the student's book Get Smart Plus 3. And the lesson that I want to highlight today is about this story and also the table here. About this table, I will explain more on my next slides. And the lesson objectives for today are, by the end of the lesson, you will be able to learn about 1. The affirmative and negative form of the verb to have, and 2. How to question and give response using the interrogative form of the verb to have. And this lesson, there are 3 parts. The first part, in part 1, you will learn about the affirmative and negative form of the verb to have. And in part 2, you will learn about how to question using the interrogative form of the verb to have. And in part 3, you will learn on how to give response using the interrogative form of the verb to have. But before we proceed with our lesson, I want you to listen and read this story. Okay, this is based on page 6 in your student's book Get Smart Plus 3.
91, 92, 93, 94, 95.
Hi, Anna.
Oh, hi, Greg.
What are these?
They're my shells.
How many have you got?
Let's see. 96, 97, 98, 99, 100. I have got 100 shells.
Hey, look! I have got a shell for you.
You haven't got a shell. That isn't a shell.
Ouch!
Well, pupils, just now we have listened and read the story. So now we are going to proceed with our part 1 of the lesson, which is about the affirmative and negative form of the verb to have. So I will use a table to explain to you about this topic. First, you need to have the subject pronouns, and there are 5 subject pronouns, which are I, he, she, you, and they. So let's put these subject pronouns into nouns. For I, he, and she, they are considered as singular nouns because I, he, and she is referring to only one person. And for you and they are considered as the plural nouns because they are referring to more than one person. So next is the verb to have plus the word got at the back. And for the verb to have, we put them into 2 parts. First is in the affirmative form, and the second one is in the negative form. Okay, so affirmative form means the person have that thing, but in the negative form means the person doesn't have that thing or object. So let's proceed. For I, so the affirmative for I is have got, and the negative form is haven't got. For he and she, the affirmative form is has got, and negative is hasn't got. Same like he, she also use has got and hasn't got. Next is for the plural subject pronoun you and they use the same affirmative form and the negative form. So for you have to use have got, and the negative form for you is haven't got, and they have got, and you, and for negative form for the word they is haven't got. So pupils, please bear in mind that even though the subject pronoun I is singular, but for I, because it is special, so you have to use have got and haven't got. But for he and she, you have to use has got and hasn't got. And for the plural subject pronouns you and they, you use like I just now, have got and haven't got. So when you put them into phrases, it will become number 1, I have got here, I have got. And for this one, negative form is I haven't got. And number 2, he has got and he hasn't got. Number 3, she has got and she hasn't got. Number 4, you have got and you haven't got. And number 5 is they have got and they haven't got. So I hope it is clear to you about my explanation about the affirmative and negative form of the verb to have. So let's do this activity to recall on what we have learned about the part 1 just now. So question 1, let's look at this picture. So the sentence is I blank curly hair. So this is you, okay? So you have curly hair. Then which one is the answer? Either A, have got, or B, has got. So let's look at the subject pronoun here. It is using I. So you can refer to the table that we have learned before. So if I, this is singular, but I said just now it is special, so you have to use, very good, you have to use have got. So the answer will be I have got curly hair. Next question, question 2. He blank green eyes. So which one is the answer? Look at the subject pronoun, it is he. So when he, you have to use, very good, you have to use he has got green eyes. Has must go with he. So the answer is he has got green eyes. And the last question for this activity, question 3. They blank white teeth. Okay, look at their teeth here. Are they white? Yes, it is white, right? And you need to choose the best and the correct answer. So the subject pronoun is they, so if they, you have to use, very good, they have got white teeth. So the answer is they have got white teeth. Okay, now let's proceed to part 2 of our lesson, which is about how to question using the interrogative form of the verb to have. Again, I will use a table to explain to you. So the subject pronouns here are he, she, you, and they. So the verb to have for he and she, because these two are singular nouns, you have to use has. And for you and they, because the subject pronouns here are plural, so you have to use have. And the predicate for this part is got to verb shells. And bear in mind, if interrogative form means it is a question, so you have to write a question mark at the end of your sentence. So it will look like this. Number 1, has he got 12 shells? Means like this one, has he got 12 shells? Okay. And then number 2, has she got 12 shells? 3, have you got 12 shells? Okay, this one is taken from here. Have you got 12 shells? And number 4, have they got 12 shells? Okay, So he and she, you have to use has because they are singular. You and they, you have to use have because they are plural. And the last part of the lesson is part 3. So here I'm going to teach you how to give response using the interrogative form of the verb to have. In the previous slide, we have learned about how to question, okay? Now I'm going to tell you how to give response. So like just now, has he got 12 shells? So in giving responses, there are two parts also, whether in positive or negative. Positive means you or that subject pronoun have that thing, but in negative means the subject pronouns doesn't have that thing. Okay, let's look at the first one. Has he got 12 shells? So if positive, you will say yes, he has. But in negative, for she, so it will become yes, she has. And then for you, it will become yes, I have. And last one, they, it will become yes, they have. It's easy actually. For positive, you must put yes at the front, okay, yes and comma, and then the back has, have here, they are referring to this one, okay, the verb to have. And for negative, so you have to use no, okay, no, he hasn't for this one. And then next one, no, she hasn't. And for you, no, I haven't. And for they, no, they haven't. Okay, that's all for the topic of giving responses in interrogative form of the verb to have. Well, pupils, we have learned about how to give question and give response in part 2 and 3. So this activity is to recall on what we have learned about asking question and giving responses in the interrogative form of the verb to have. Question 1. Look at the picture here, and this is the sentence or the question. Has she got blonde hair? So now look at the hair here, okay? And you have 8 possible answers. Yes, he has. Yes, she has. Yes, I have. Yes, they have. Or no, he hasn't. No, she hasn't. No, I haven't. And no, they haven't. So first, you need to look at the phrase here. Has she? Okay, so it starts with has. So you don't have to look at have here, have and haven't. You just throw away answers. Next, you look at the next or the subject pronoun is she. So you don't have to look at the subject pronoun he. So it is either the answer is either yes she has or no she hasn't. So back to this picture again. Has she got blonde hair? So the answer is yes, she has. Okay, so because her hair is blonde, so you have to use positive answer. So yes, she has. Next, question 2. Look at the boy. So the question is, have you got brown eyes? Look at the eyes here. The eyes are green and not brown. So again, you have to look at the phrase here. Have you got? So have, you don't look at the word or the answers has and hasn't. You just focus on these 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Next is the subject pronoun you. So based on the table that we have learned before, you have to change into I. So it's either yes I have or no I haven't. Look back at the eyes here. Have you got brown eyes? Okay, so these are not brown eyes, they are green. So the answer is no, I haven't. And the last question for today is, Look at the girls here. 1, 2, 3, 4 girls. And the question is, have they got long hair? So look at the hair. Are they long or short? So they have short hair. Again, look at the phrase here. Have they got? So like before I said, look at the first word you have. So you don't have to look at has, hasn't, and hasn't. Throw away. Then next is look at the subject pronoun. They. So we left with this one, I and they. So of course they. You only look at they. So two possible answers. Yes, they have, or no, they haven't. Again, look at the word long hair. So they have short hair, not long hair. So the answer is no, they haven't. So pupils, the summary for today's lesson is you have learned about first the affirmative and negative form of the verb to have, then 2, how to question and give response using the interrogative form of the verb to have. Again, I repeat, there are 3 parts that we have learned. The first part is about the affirmative and negative form of the verb to have, and then part 2 is about how to give question using the interrogative form of the verb to have, and in part 3 we have learned about how to give response using the interrogative form and the verb to have. And that's all for today's lesson, pupils. Thanks for watching and see you again.